Christmas to you all! Do you love my new cup? It's Rudolph with his red nose. And I have some Christmas tea, and I have some Christmas tree, and I have some Christmas jumper that looks like a tree, and some Christmas scented candles. I'm all ready for Christmas. So today's video is going to be a fun one, I hope. It's going to be a video about some Norwegian Christmas traditions. Lots of S's, a lot of reasons for why we celebrate Christmas a little bit different here in the north, in Scandinavia and Nordic countries, are because of our Viking past. From the heathen times when the Vikings weren't Christian, Christianity came to Norway about year 1000 AD. And I've actually written my bachelor's, not degree, but my bachelor's, and that food has stayed with us ever since. And porridge also is one of the oldest forms of warm food that we have here in Scandinavia. Task, I guess, a report that you do about going from heathen to Christian times. And I have totally forgot to mention that Christmas, the English word Christmas, comes from Christ, and many other words for Christmas comes from the Holy Night or a birth of Christ. But in the Nordic countries we call it Jul, and that comes, we don't know where that word comes from, but we can know for sure that it comes from the Vikings and the heathen times. It's not a Christian word at all. And we did celebrate something here in the north that was called Jul at about the same time that the Christians celebrated their Christmas. And around year 1000, when Christianity was introduced, it was made, a king made it by law that the heathen Christmas was to be celebrated at the same time as the Christian Christmas. So a lot of the stuff and traditions that we do have here in Norway are from the Vikings. Some are new from Christianity, and some are like a bit of mix of both. Like for example, the time that we celebrate it. We know that the Vikings celebrated Jul, that they had blot, which is like a big feast during this time, midwinters, about midwinter solstice. Is that what it's called? It's a day when the sun turns. So now in the winter time here, it's really dark. So we have just a few hours of sunlight each day, and from this day, from the winter solstice, the sun turns and the days become longer and the nights become shorter. So it's not hard to believe that the Vikings would have a feast, and a gratitude feast for the gods, to celebrate as a thanks for their victories in the war and their food, and that they would survive the harsh winters that we can have here in Norway. Yeah, the bloots were sacrificial feasts where everyone came together, sacrificed, ate, and the foods that we eat with pigs and all that are traditionally one of the animals that Norwegian has held the longest, and they have a lot of fat on them. So the Christmas foods are a lot of fat. It's fatty food, and in the olden days it was important to have a lot of fat during the winter time so that you wouldn't freeze to death and starve to death. And as you can see, I'm wearing a festive jumper or sweater, but that is something that's come to Norway in the past two years. That the shops here in Norway has had some crazy Christmas jumpers. That's not a tradition that we normally have. So you may have heard that the Nordic or Scandinavian countries celebrate Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day. And that means that we do open our presents and have a family gathering on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day, so the 24th. Let's go back to the 23rd, or as we call it in Norway, Little Christmas Eve. It's the night before the night, as we call it, and each year we watch a show. We watch a show about the Countess and her butler on New Year's Eve, and it's German English, and it's from 1963, and it lasts for about 5 to 15 minutes, so it's really short, but it's called Dinner for One, and yeah, it's really funny. The butler they have an imaginary New Year's dinner, and the butler drinks for all of her pretend guests, so he ends up getting real drunk, and all the kids and all the adults love that show. When we wake up at Christmas morning, the morning of Christmas Eve, we usually get a stocking, but the stocking is filled with candy. So that's traditionally the only candy you get for the Christmas period. On the morning of Christmas Eve, we get up about 8 and we watch a children's program or show on the telly, which is called Christmas Morning, and it's on the TV every day during the Christmas time. But on Christmas Eve, we have some traditional shows and clips and films that we watch. Most notably, we watch a film about Cinderella. It's called like 3 Nuts to Cinderella. She gets some hazelnuts. It's from the Czech Republic and Germany, I believe, from the 80s, might even be the 70s. But what is funny is that you can hear the people, the actors and actresses talk in like Czech or German or something, I can't remember. But then we have dubbed it. It's one man who dubs everyone, and he has a really dark voice. You can still hear the actresses speak, but he does a voiceover over the original voice. This one man. It's really weird, but every year we watch it on the morning of Christmas Eve. Then it's normal to eat for lunch or early dinner. We normally eat rice pudding, rice porridge, which is warm milk and rice boiled together, and then we have cinnamon and sugar and some butter on. And on Christmas, it's tradition to have an almond put in the porridge, and whoever gets the almond in their porridge gets pig made out of marzipan. It's really delicious. Normally, when you have the leftovers from the porridge, it's mixed with whipped cream, and then it's this dessert, which is called rice. I guess that's more rice pudding, rice cream pudding. And then you have some red sauce on it, and then it's a dessert. Then when we are finished with lunch, a lot of people actually do go to church on Christmas Eve, and that is also the reason for why we celebrate the 24th instead of the 25th, because we do celebrate that Jesus was born on the 25th, but we celebrate on the 24th. And the reason for that is that the church bell rings at 5 in the afternoon, and that's when it's getting dark in Norway during this time. And in the olden days, that was when the new day began. So when we celebrate Christmas Eve from about 5 o'clock in the evening, and that from the olden days, that was the new day. So that was the start of the 25th. So yeah, it's quite logical if you think about it. So about 5 or 6 o'clock, most people eat their family Christmas Eve dinner, and that's normally a family dinner, and we do get dressed up in our nice clothes. Yeah, just let me take a sip. Oh, can you see his nose is changing back to black? On Christmas Eve, we normally eat pig. It's pig or lamb. Some people eat fish like cod or lutefisk. We eat ribbe, which is pig's ribs. It's like ribs, but you cook it in the oven as a whole, and you leave the skin on, so it's not spare ribs. It's the skin gets like roasted and really crispy. It sounds so weird, but you eat it with potatoes, cooked potatoes, and some meatballs and stuff. Other people on the western part of Norway eat like ribs from lamb, which has been dried and then rehydrated again and then smoked, and it's salty, and then steamed again, and that's called pinnekjøtt. It has some sort of mash from what's it called? Yeah, something. And then when we are finished with our dinner, it's time to open the presents, and they are all mostly under the Christmas tree, and it differs from family to family how you do the gift exchange. But at my family, we take one present and we read the label, who it's to and from, and then we all watch that person open their present and then go and take another one. We do have Santa Claus. Santa Claus do come to some families, not all, but mostly families with small children have a Santa Claus come and knock on the door and bring a sack of presents. And then we eat some desserts, and then we go to bed, mostly. And then when you wake up on Christmas Day, which we called first Christmas Day, you normally, when you're a kid, you normally go and play with all your toys and stuff. It's been tradition in the last like 10 years that many people eat this frozen pizza that we have. It's called grandiosa, and it's really cheap. It's just a plain pizza base with cheese and paprika and ham. And for some reason that's been like tradition that many people eat that on Christmas Eve or a little Christmas Eve. When it comes to drinks, we have traditional gløgg, which is mulled wine, but the traditional Norwegian gløgg isn't with wine at all. It's normally just this, it's more like a shy, so it's more like a warm, watery syrup with lots of spices in it, so sugary, spicy, hot water. It's really good though. Some adults have red wine in it, but it's not customary to do that. And we have also this thing called julebrus, which is like a Christmas soda, and every year there is a big discussion throughout the country if the Christmas soda is supposed to be red or if it's supposed to be brown. Right now I actually have one here. This isn't the best one at all. I personally love the brown Christmas sodas, but this is a red Christmas soda and it tastes like raspberries. And many people also go around the Christmas tree at Christmas Eve and sing and dance, but yeah, my family doesn't. So Christmas Eve is like the close family that you have, like Christmas Day and Boxing Day, which we call first Christmas Day and second Christmas Day. There are a lot of bigger family gatherings with your extended families, with lots of food and drinks and all that kind of stuff. And throughout December we have Christmas Advent calendars that goes on the TV. So each day you get a snippet. It's like 15 to 30 minutes, I believe, per episode. So it's like, yeah, a series with 24 episodes from the 1st to the 24th of December. Throughout November, December, and also January, many people have julebord, which is like a Christmas party, both for like family members, with friends, with the office, and yeah, it tends to be filled with alcohol and food. As we're saying, in Norway we do get visits from Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. We do have another type of nisse, which is what we call Santa Claus. Is called julenisse, like a Christmas nisse. We have another type of nisse, which is called fjøsnisse. He lives on farms mostly, both small and big. And he, throughout the year, he helps the farmers with the animals and with stuff around outside. So at Christmas time we take out a bowl of Christmas porridge and sometimes a glass of like red lemonade or soft, and put it out for and that's mixed if you put it out for Santa Claus or if you put it out for the fjøsnisse. And so many people who live on a farm will put it out outside or on the barn, and then the next day it will be eaten. So it's important for the peace and quiet and happiness of all who lives on the farm that the fjøsnisse is happy. Sometimes I think you might give him some beer as well. But the fjøsnisse is not all good and nice. He's like a mix between a gnome and a goblin. And he's a bit naughty, and he can make your life miserable if you don't tend to him well. So they are around all year, but they tend to just be seen during the Christmas time. But the later years, like the last 10 years or so, maybe more, from the Christmas TV Advent calendars that I told you about, we have had some blånisser, which is like translates to blue Santas, blue nisser, and they are blue, and they live in the mountains up in Norway. So they are really popular, but they are not like traditional for Norway. It's just something that has come the last like 10 years. The Christmas decorations that we have are a lot surrounded around the theme of Nisse. I wanted to tell you some fun facts. Well, I don't know if they're fun, but as some of you might have seen in the media this year. Every year, the citizens of Oslo sends a Christmas tree that stands on Trafalgar Square in London. That is a gift from the population of Oslo, and it is sent as a thank you for all the help that London and the Brits gave to Norway during World War II. This year it has gotten some notice in the media because the Brits have said that this year's tree looks like a giant glowing pickle. You can Google it and see for yourself what you think. But the mayor of Westminster do come to Norway and help pick out the tree, so I don't know if we had many bad trees this year. It was long and thin. What you may not know is that until 2014 we also gave a tree to Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and until this year we also gave a tree to Reykjavik in Iceland, and both were from, as with the three in London, from the population of Oslo as a thanks for the help during World War II. The giant tree that stands outside of Rockefeller Center in New York is also a Norwegian tree. Or it's not a gift from Norway, and it may not come from Norwegian woods, but it is a Norwegian sprout. Is that even what it's called? Norwegian sprout? I could go on and on about some of the traditions that we have during Christmas time and the transitions between heathen Viking celebrations of Yule and the Christian traditions of Yule that we have now. But I won't do that. I can see through the screen that you are all tired of hearing me speak. So I'm going to go now and celebrate Christmas, and I hope that you have a wonderful time and that you have many blessings, whatever you celebrate and believe in, and I'll see you soon. Bye!